Oh, it's good to have him back in studio. Look at him. Fresh off the plane.
As fresh as Marc.
Yeah. Shaun back in the house. Hey, just really quickly, you came from the States, and as you left, you probably didn't know this, but the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, has been given a clean bill of health.
That's big for them.
That is big for them. And they also included his recent stats, which include his height at 6'3".
Oh, why are we doing this?
He said he was 6'3".
And weight of 101 kgs.
Maybe if that little
The little
toupee,
queef? It's
the
the
little
queef?
whatever that is at the top
quiff.
of his head, gets a nice tailwind.
Actually, I saw Trump at the fights.
Yes, you would have.
Yeah, he is. He's firm in stature.
He's firm in stature.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised by that.
You're not surprised at 6'3" and
Maybe
101
6'3".
kgs.
Yeah.
So just
He ain't 101
put this in
kgs.
perspective.
He's heavier than that.
One Jordan Ricky plays in the NFL, in NRL,
He
as
could
you
do
would know.
NFL.
6'3" and 104 kgs. So basically,
Yeah, that can't be right.
Like for like.
Why would he ever lie about his height?
Selwyn Cobbo, 6'3", 99 kgs. Zach Lomax, 6'3", 94 kgs. Joseph Tarpany, 6'2", 106 kgs.
Yeah. No, I can't believe that then. If those are the names you're rattling off, there's no chance. Trump?
Zach
That was-
Lomax is 94?
That's what it says.
No, but Trump's a lying dog anyway, isn't he?
Well,
No.
the jury's still out, apparently.
No.
That's the way. But
Right.
most importantly, I did want to get to Joey Manu, or Joseph Manu, plays in Japan at the moment, 6'3", 98 kgs. Probably the most similar of the Donald Trump's weight and heights.
Yo, Marc, brother.
Yeah. Are we thinking?
What wing you on?
Are we thinking the news is true? Joey
No, I
Manu's
call
to the Warriors?
bullshit. There's no way. There's no way he's coming.
There's no way he's coming.
Nah.
Wait,
There's no way
hey,
Donald
hey,
Trump's that height and weight, and there's no way Joey Manu's coming. There's no chance. I will believe it when I see it.
What do you know that we don't know? Because you mean what you just said.
Yeah, I don't know nothing. But actually, you know what? About time we did a massive signing. We must have that much cash just sitting there in the vault.
So changed. So
Nah, yeah, actually, just let me think about that, boys. You let go of the players that we let go of. We haven't had a big signing. 100%, bro. We're going to come out of the water with something huge, actually. Sorry, I got a little phasey there. My jet lag's sort of kicking in, but I'll just squeeze past that. Something big's happening, boys. Can we get in the show now? Because
I love that.
might not make it to the end if we don't.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on now.
Play on.
My mate to the left here. One heck of a career you've had, man.
To be able to be in this space, announce my retirement.
LeBron James, a shot at history.
And the Panthers have done it again. 4 premierships in a row.
A black wave pouring through Paris 2024. Back to black. New Zealand champions.
Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone!
6 of the best from Auckland FC.
We need a halfback.
I'm not playing.
I'm in, baby! I'm in!
Play on.
He's in and he's back. Shaun Johnson is in the building. Fresh off a flight from Miami. What time did you get in this morning?
We landed about 5:30.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
Hardest worker in the
5:30.
room, baby.
Hey, got to get this done.
Just got back. Shout out to Betcha. Shout out to Frank Energy and Marc. Who else we shouting out this morning? Come on now.
Big shout out to Gatorade. On board
yes.
Gatorade.
Hey, I was about to crack this open. Look at it.
Look at
Gatorade?
that.
Can we elaborate a little bit on that quickly, Matua?
Yes, so Gatorade is on board. They're going to be supporting the show through our season 2, which we're running through at the moment. They were bringing a little bit of Shaun Hub and also wanting to get us out into the community, getting us out in amongst the MVPs as we do another pop-up. We'll give you all the details later on in the show.
Man, I was just thinking about we're just a humble little podcast and one of the smallest places in the world. You know, just
doing
tucked
our
down
bit.
here and you know, Gatorade.
Gatorade?
Pretty sure
Gatorade.
Michael Jordan was the Gatorade, wasn't
Hey, sweat,
You say Mo,
embrace it, replace it, Gatorade.
Oh, yeah. It
What'd you
just
say,
fits,
Marc?
doesn't it?
Sweat, embrace it, replace it.
It just works.
Gatorade.
he? Shout out to Gatorade, baby. So what are we doing?
We've got a lot on the show. We do. Actually, there's a couple of things that are a little bit ad hoc. So we're going to go just off the seat of our pants with a couple of things that we need to get through. But most importantly, we do have our Betcha Match Ups, and we'll be reviewing what happened last week and over the weekend. And one person has a big smile, or both have big smiles on their faces. I'm not sure if we've gone through the results yet, and both you guys know.
You said most importantly. That is not the most important thing we're doing on the show.
Oh, there's more.
And shout out to Betcha, but there was a bet that was made that needs to be upheld this weekend, which we need to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Okay?
Yeah, we do.
So we didn't get dubs everywhere, we got dubs somewhere.
Sean, you know what that means. We will be discussing that a little more later on in the show as well. Shaun Johnson wearing one Broncos top is a bet that was made. Look, we tried our hardest to get him off it. Well, he did.
I wish I didn't come in today. I wish my flight got cancelled back from Miami. I wish I didn't have to sit here and go through this stupid ass bet again.
And again.
And again and again.
And again.
But can we get into the betches? Because that'll put a smile on my face.
That'll put you in a good mood. Okay, let's do it. All right, and what a week it was.
So
guys,
about
this is an exciting one because, as you well know, Brook has got out to a pretty good lead. He's up 4-2 over the season. So, Sean, you needed this week to work for you. And you know what? Starting off with the Masters, team tailor-made or not, and Rory McIlroy takes out the victory, who is indeed a tailor-made signed athlete. He's
Boys,
on the board early.
Put our hands together for Roars!
It
Unreal!
was kind of cool to see.
Unreal. And Matua, I'm so happy I got you on that train.
Mate, I was all about the Rory story after you had that chat.
I'm so glad that we follow a storyline. Hey, how much more invested were you?
I was so invested, and it was one of those ones that was so up and down. Like, at one stage, it looked like he had it in the bag. The next, he's dropping shots left, right, and center. And then he comes back, and just the ability to stay in it. And that's... they say you have to lose one before you can win one in any sport. I don't think that's necessarily the case. But, man, having that experience to pull on through in the Masters where people were dropping like flies was incredible to watch. And I put $50 on it through Betcha because I am a Betcha ambassador. But I put my $50 on. People followed, and they were so stoked. And I said, hey, no thanks to me. This is all Sean and the Rory story.
But this was an unbelievable story. And you know one thing I've realized is that why I love sports so much is literally because of the stories.
Absolutely, storylines.
And watching Rory claim that Masters, completing the Grand Slam. So I was on a connecting flight from Miami to Houston, and it was a 2.5-hour flight. And United, the GOATs of airlines, they play the Masters and tally on the planes.
Oh, you didn't have to pay for that?
Nah, that was just part of your ticket. So I'm sitting there, and there's a few people scattered around me, and we're all riding Rory for the last 9 and then into the playoff on our connecting flight. So the flight was a little bit of a vibe. Hey, we were getting around it. It was mad. But just the golf he produced, the golf then that eluded him at times. There were some shots, boys. There was a second shot on hole number 15 where he hit this high draw, like a shot of a lifetime that only he could hit. And it was just from that point on, it was you had a feeling, okay, he's going to go on with this. Then he goes on to bogey the last, right? And with a putt that he missed, similar to the putt he missed in the US Open, where he lost to DeChambeau that day. So there were so many little storylines within the big storyline for him to regather himself, to go down, birdie the 18th again in the first playoff hole. We were fist pumping, we were high-fiving randoms on the flight. It was just a legit vibe and a beautiful finish to what was probably the best golf tournament I've ever watched.
The best you've ever seen.
Just with that storyline. Tiger winning it in 2019 was another massive storyline, right? But this was right up there. This was right up there with completing that Grand Slam. So
is that what it was? It was the completing of the Grand Slam?
Yeah, because that was his 13th attempt at it, boys. So that's why the emotion came through.
Yeah, you saw when he made that final putt.
Oh, it was more than just a golf tournament. He had 13 cracks at completing the Grand Slam. That was his 19th start or something ridiculous at a Masters. So that whole messaging around perseverance, you could see, he was real candid around the pressures. He said, I've never been more nervous for a final round of golf than what I was this morning. He was real transparent with it. It was so good. And they say there's nothing like a final grouping, being in that final group at a Masters. There's nothing in any other golf tournament. So
he missed that putt to win it, but that's a putt he would make 99 times out of 100.
Yeah, when you're just putting on the
putting
putting
green.
green.
He'd make it 100 out of 100. He's Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
But I understand the pressure of, okay, now with what you've just told me as well, but it's the gallery, it's everything you've waited for your whole life on a putt that is...
It was about 4 foot. And it was a little slippery one. It did have movement in it, but still, Rory McIlroy, you'd think any day of the week, knock it in. Just to win a tournament,
You know the cool part about that, though, is he regathered himself and still came out and won it.
And that's why I think it was just a real feel-good story to come out of the weekend of sports. And obviously a feel-good story for me because I'm watching that. That was the last event of the weekend. And Team Tailor-Made.
Team Tailor-Made,
baby.
did it indeed.
You know why that one hurts? Because I wanted to beat you with your own clubs.
Yeah. Remember he tried to pull that one back? Hey, but to be fair, that was one of our better bets, I reckon, boys.
Yeah.
When I sort of thought of that, like, let's go Team Tailor-Made versus the world, like, it was as even as we could have possibly got. So I was glad that it came down to that.
It was really cool. I think one of my favourite things about when the Masters is playing is that you start to learn all these little facts about. I mean, it doesn't. It has a checkered past, the Masters in general, and golf does. But there's a real kind of relaxing feeling of tradition that comes with it, including the green jackets, from the sandwiches to the $2 menu, like how you could walk into the where you get the lunches from, and you can go in with $20 and you come out with change and plenty of food and water. Like everything's like $2. I love learning more and more about such a storied event.
Sorry, I might be pushing this out a little bit, but I'm exactly the same, Matua. Can I read you boys a few things that if you're a Masters champion, you get?
Oh, so this is lifetime.
This is lifetime, right? So here we go. So obviously the green jacket we touched on.
Which you don't take away, do you?
No, so you don't take it away. It stays there. An engraving on the Masters trophy. Again, the Masters trophy you don't take away. It stays there. You get a replica, which is a little bit smaller. Okay. A Masters gold medal, a tradition that started at the original Masters in 1934, which is only a 3.5-inch medal, which features a raised image of the clubhouse on front. Wow. So you only get a gold locket. So they give you a gold locket, which is usually, supposedly for your spouse. So it's a nice little touch to your partner that they wear.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Invitation to Champions Dinner. So it's the dinner on the Tuesday before the event where it's pretty much hosted by the previous champion, caters the menu, and you come, you got an invite to that table always.
So who was the defending champ?
Scotty Scheffler.
So Scheffler would have come up with the menu for that
night.
night.
And his menu looked good, man. He got a good taste.
What would you get? What would you have if you just won the Masters? What's the next meal for everybody?
I'm a rock star. Like, give me a smash burger.
Yes.
Yeah, put a smash burger on there. I love it, bro. The Americans do a great smash burger.
They love a smash burger. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a nice hearty smash burger, and I saw Scotty Scheffler actually did like a skillet cookie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. So just come on, come on, Scotty. Come on now.
You're naughty.
Honorary membership to Augusta. Now this is the big one. Players are official members of the club and can return whenever they like and bring a guest. It's such a sought after. So you could think, Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood and the likes would struggle to play at Augusta outside of the tournament. That's the crazy thing. That's how prestigious this event is.
I like that, though. I can dig a piece of history. Like you imagine most golf courses you can get onto.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that.
Who are you taking? Who's your first person you get to take there? Who would die to have that invitation to go on the course with you? You've just won the Masters.
I'm taking my brother Adam, Little bastard played Tara Edie yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
He might turn you down.
Yeah. Oh, no, mate. Hey, another one quickly. A locker in the champions' locker room.
Yes.
So you know this because the champions' locker room is so, like, prestige, so historic. Like, it's not built. I don't think they built it with, like, this envision of what's it going to look like in 100 years.
No.
So it's more so past champions actually share lockers. You know, so Scotty Scheffler's on there with the late Charles Cody and late Brian Nelson.
So their names, even though they've passed away, they'll still remain
Still on there.
that
Yeah,
locker.
actually, sorry, Charles Cody hasn't passed away. Brian Nelson has. And there's a champions only range as well. So even like, imagine pulling up to the Masters, right? You got your practice facility where you're warming up the balls, and you just got 2 or 3 blokes off on their own range, dialing in their numbers.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I love it.
That's about the same. That was on point for what the Warriors gave you, isn't it? When you held up the no.
Come on now.
No.
Yeah, look, there's a few more. Just to finish off, a lifetime invitation to the Masters.
Oh,
so obviously it's real well renowned. The invitation that gets sent out hereby informing you're invited to play at the Masters. So you get a lifetime of that. So you don't need to be top 20, top 50 or whatever.
You always get that letter.
Shout out to Rory, man.
So Rory's on that list.
Well done,
sorry that went on, but I've got a feeling there might be a few of our MVPs that would take a little something away from that.
Yeah. Let's move into matchup number 2, and it was Super Rugby on Saturday night. This was the Blues game against Moana Pacifica. They were heavy favourites, and what do we go with that?
Well, Brook went against family.
He did.
He went with Moana.
He saw the writing on the walls. They were back to back too.
No, he did.
You made the bet.
He did.
No, you made the bet.
He went against him.
I just remember that Jordan actually gave a pep talk to them. You remember he was going in there on that day to give him. That's what I was like. He got a resounding rev up.
That worked.
Yeah.
Golly.
It didn't
Don't
quite
just use
work.
them on the show, Jordan.
Yeah.
Get in that locker room and rev them up, lad.
Yeah, To
Yeah.
be fair, when Jordan gives one of those, like, I'll be punching the airways through the speakers when I hear it comes through in the car in the
Nah,
morning.
well, after I had a little bit of debrief with him after, I said, brother, you get in there. Wow, me and Lance were there, and it was more about Lance's story. I said, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you were trouble. In fact, 36-17, the
Yeah.
Blues
Up the Blues.
won Moana, over Moana. Moving through into matchup number 3, and these are 2 games I actually attended at Eden Park. They were great. It was the Super Rugby All-Piki final, and it was Blues women taking on Matua, and I believe, Brook, you had the choice on this one first, and
I
you
did.
backed the season favourites, and that being the Blues women, who came across with a 26-19 win. Brook, putting himself back on the table. It was looking pretty damn frightening there as he was up to a 2-1 lead.
We were talking about this the other day, though, and shout out to Nix as well, but we were just saying like it was a contrasting game in terms of Matua 4-pack, really good 4-pack, and then the backs that this Blues team has. It went 12 was Ruahei Demont. Then you pass it out to Portia Woodman, who, if she doesn't score, she's going to pass it out to Caitlin Vahakol, which is, like, you
Bit
put
of a
those
cheat code.
3 next to each other anywhere on the field, it's going to be a heck of a game. So it kind of reminded me, if you didn't watch this game, I hope that you watched the Women's Rugby World Cup final. That was here, us versus England. It was very much like that. Like,
Yeah, I got you on that.
with those type of styles of how it was played. It was a close finish at the end. The part is just want to, Marc, and you can elaborate on this. You just want people to be able to see this brand. You were there. It's just a great product of rugby. We just have to convince people to watch it.
Fast, physicality's all there. It is everything you want in rugby. It's free-flowing. It's not as, I guess, as stagnant as the male game. And it's so good to watch. I took my wife and my daughter along, and we went and watched Moana Pacific at first with the Blues, and then we went and we stayed for the final with the girls. And it was such a seesaw match. It was perfect. It was exactly what you want. You get Matua who get up early. They, up through the middle, exactly what you're saying, and then the Blues come back through Ruahei Demont. It's just such
dope.
good rugby. And
Back to back for those girls.
I did have one gripe, Sean, and you'll appreciate this. If you can take it from a player's standpoint, for me, the on-field entertainment. Like the Eden Park needs to sort their speakers out. That's my first gripe. They need to make sure that they put the PA systems facing back into the crowd like they do at the Warriors. You know, the big speakers you guys can slide into?
Yeah.
That's because they don't rely on the top speakers just around the stadium, so the people at the front can hear as well. And they didn't have they had very little entertainment and very little messaging around the end of the males match, and then waiting 45 minutes before the girls actually kicked off. So we were at.
You should have just jumped that fence, Matua.
I wanted to grab the mic and say, "Everyone, stay!
You know what? We need to
The
turn
party
up.
isn't over."
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. Anyways, well done though, and a great event.
Yeah, well done,
overall.
girls.
Nice final. All right, finally, let's go into matchup
Yes,
number 4.
let's talk about this, baby.
And let's get our hands dirty, and of course the place where Sean has been for the last week, UFC 314. The featherweight division is where we were looking. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. And I tell you what, Sean, you had a front-up face to it.
Yeah.
And what a face it is. You
Yeah.
took Volk, and you knew all along.
Great call.
Yeah, it was, you can be a little bit biased. And after I spoke to Volk the very first time, I was like, bro, I'm all in on you.
Yeah, go on.
He just gave me, like, this sense of, like,
Belief?
genuine belief. It wasn't, you could tell there was no doubt in his mind that he had put in the work to get a result.
Yeah.
And he was so transparent, so vulnerable with where he'd been, the things he'd done to get away from the sport, to come back hungrier, did not cheat this camp one little bit.
Look great.
Looked great, but then at the same time paid his respects to Diego Lopez. Like, man, I'm fighting a hungry dog.
It's a bad man.
And there were no illusions, right, that Diego possessed the more power. He had that knockout ability. He was powerful. He was explosive. But Volk's game plan, the way he sort of suppressed that, kept it just enough.
His
You know,
feints
enough
are
of a
on
lid on it
point.
where he could. He outfought him, boys. Yeah, it was a masterclass in the art of combat where it was like, hey, it's not all about, your biggest punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just such a real, privilege to watch, a privilege to witness. And, hey, we can call him 2 times now.
Absolutely.
2 times. So, yeah, Volk, unreal week. And then to have him cap it off the way he did, just a real special trip.
You know what I really appreciated is Going into that fight, I know he would have felt pressure. Didn't see it on his face, but he would have felt pressure because he is 36. Am I right? He's 36. Let's put it in black and white. This is his last chance.
Yep.
Like, this is everything you ever wanted. This is you solidify yourself in the Hall of Fame. You go down as one of, if not the greatest of your division. Like, this is everything you could ever want. And the pressure with the age, with this young pit bull that is coming through, that's a bad man in that ring as well. And just to soak it all up, embrace it, sign of a champion to me, man. That right there is the definition of a champion.
What is the argument around the greatest of all time now?
Aldo was pretty good.
So that and Volt actually, he did say that. He's like, Aldo in my eyes, but he goes, I'm like, well, is it recency bias? But he goes, look, let me defend it one more time, and I don't think there's a question if I defend it one more time. So I'm like,
if he said that, we agree with that.
yeah, I'm like, all right, lad, okay, let's see you go. Let's see you go defend this, and then there's no argument to it.
It's always harder because you're always looking to see who it is that they've fought against in their run.
The resume.
And
the
the ways
resume's
up.
both,
Like, the resumes are so hard to be able to weigh up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that means, well, actually, Shaun, I want to talk to you. We'll do that later on in the show about asking the question at the presser with,
okay.
how nerve-wracking that was. And our final matchup doesn't really matter because, Brook, you've gone ahead and lost this week.
dead
anyway.
rubber.
Dead rubber. Let's not talk about the 42 points to 14.
Nah, let's
loss.
talk about it. I lost, but I won that. But let's talk about the game.
Okay, then.
You didn't win that.
Oh, Storm, I didn't feel good about winning that
Well,
one, but
that's
on
what
the
you were
board,
doing.
There's no wins
I
there,
won
mate.
that.
Yeah.
Bro, tell me, this is all I want to know about this game. How does Melbourne find space every time?
Boys, remember, if we rewind the clock and we spoke about Storm's ability to generate ruck speed,
That's what it is?
it was
So quick.
in the Warriors' mind, it was back foot footy, right? Back foot rugby league. That's all it was. And you give the Storm ruck speed. What did we say? They've got the best spine in the world at capitalising on it.
How do you stop that, though?
I think I saw Mitch Barnett come out after, and he said something around, it took our young boys to show us how to tackle. You know what I mean? So if you don't show up with the right intent, which again, I'm not being like, hey, I'm like some sort of philosopher guy, but it's simple messaging in rugby league sometimes, especially in hostile environments like Melbourne. You can have the game plan of doom, all right?
Yeah.
But you don't show up with the right intent, the right mindset around that grip, which they've built their last 3 wins off. A team like Melbourne, with the ruck speed they can generate through their movement around the footy, right? It's going to be a long day. And boys, if there's anyone that knows what it's like to be on the back, well, on the wrong side of that avalanche, that snowball effect of Melbourne just going wave after wave after wave,
yeah.
bro, it's me. I've been there and I've felt it, and it is so hard to stop. So hard to stop. So, look,
How do you stop it? It's just impossible.
I honestly think it's a tone set right from the start.
Right.
And you give them a sniff, it's like a shark in blood-infested waters. If you don't show up in that first set and go smack them straight in the mouth, which is the times we've done well down there. I think I made a little comment saying, boys, the halfback that's been there the last 10 years ain't there anymore. And then I got told, bro, you were the halfback that last beat them down there. And I'm like, well, that day, we smacked them. Yeah, even last year when they beat us on the Hooter, like, they got the jump on us, but we came back and just went, like, square in the face. Like,
fire with fire.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. And
that's just physicality. So what you're talking about is like when you hit somebody, you're driving them back.
It's not just physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also technique to it. Yeah, it's not just, hey boys, go out and try do this on your own.
Yeah.
Nah, you've got to meet the contact with the technicality. Yeah, and those two combined, that's how you turn it. But look, I didn't watch the game, so I'm going off speaking to a couple of boys. I'm going off seeing what the skipper said after the game, and everything that I've heard was exactly what I've felt down there. So
No, they did play real quick. They scored in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we had a chance to score. They turned that around. They scored 2 minutes into it. And then they scored in the 21st, 27th, and 29th minute.
it's just
so they
bang,
scored
bang,
3
bang.
tries
Before
in
you
8
know
minutes.
it, you're going, what has happened?
You look
What
up at the
hell?
scoreboard.
You're standing there cross-eyed, mate. You're going,
Second
okay.
half, though, we would know.
Brooke decided to text me in the middle of it and got a torrent back at him. Sorry, Brooke. I apologise for speaking that way or texting you in that, in that
That's
manner.
how I felt too.
I was so annoyed.
Hey, the boys are back home this weekend.
Yeah, they are.
Saturday night against the Bronx. Let's just get around them.
Let's
just
do
get
that.
there. Oh,
Yeah, let's just do that, Shaun. How does the chant go? Anyways, there we are. Shaun wins the week. Shaun wins the week. And that means the season is starting to get close. Season
What we got?
is getting close.
where's that mug there?
4 to 3. It's evening out.
Oh, betcha. You better betcha. I'm coming for you.
Always bet responsibly.
Play on.
Oh, yeah, it's back. We touched on earlier MVPs, Gatorade. Brand spanking new sponsors of the Play On Sports Show. Round of applause for that. Hey, let's elaborate a little bit, because if you remember last year, we introduced the Play On pop-up series.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Gatorade have kindly come on board to allow us to bring it back again.
And this is exciting. Now, let me just give you a little heads up. Gatorade, not only are they an official hydration partner of us, not only are they an official hydration partner of the One NZ Warriors, but they could be an official hydration partner
Yeah, they can.
to you in whatever sport you're playing or supporting. So sweat, embrace it, replace it. Gatorade is scientifically researched and game tested, and we want to come along. We want to play the role.
Too. I
It's
get all of that
tasty.
too, but like it tastes good.
Tastes good as well.
Like that's, I don't want to have all of this stuff if it don't taste good. You know
Look at
what I mean?
that.
Like I feel like an athlete when I'm having this.
We're going to be the pop-ups. We want to come along to your sports games. We want to come along to wherever it is that you're playing sport,
some of that.
and we want to be the water boys, or we want to take part, depending on how it all rolls. We'd love to be your biggest supporter alongside Gatorade.
We are the now. We are the speed. We are. You see what I was trying to do there?
Yeah. So if you're interested, Brooke, where do people enter?
That's it. Like Marc said, we'll show up to anything. It don't matter. It could be 3 people. It could be a family event. But Gatorade is coming to you. You just jump on our Instagram. Let us know what is going on, what the sports team is, what you guys are up to, where you are in the country. You know what? I'm going to say it. It could be in Australia too. That's as far as we'll go. Actually, hold on. Maybe the Cook Islands. Send it in.
Fiji,
We
if
can
you're up
make
there and you're listening to
something
this,
work.
we'll come if we have to.
You think
But-
we're joking. We can make something work by just jumping our DMs.
Boys, a few years ago, I did this little thing where I was actually the water boy, right? And I can see this playing out really cool as we start getting into the footy seasons, the local footy season, that we'll get some young teams enter.
Yeah.
Can you come down to our Papatoe under 8s, run some... Here we are. This is what we're rolling up with, all right? So I don't want to tell you is where we're going, but that's the sort of vibe we're talking here. It can be anywhere. We don't have to be taking part in the sport. We can simply come run some waters for you. We'll get involved. We'll get engaged.
There's not one of those ones too where like we say we're going to do it, but then we don't actually do it. But
Oh.
you assume that we did it. No, we're actually going to do this.
Totally. We're bringing the Gatorade with us as well. So if you're interested, if you've got a sports game going on, if you've got anything you'd like us to come along to and be the Water Boys, aka the Gatorade Boys, we will absolutely do it with you. It is our Gatorade pop-up series. Make sure you get to our Instagram account and DM us. DM us what sport it is you want us to come along to, where it is, and we can't let all that great Gatorade stuff go to waste.
Did you also say, sorry, that they're sponsoring Shaun Hub?
Yes.
You got Shaun Hub too?
They got a bit of Shaun Hub too.
Good Lord.
Watch out now.
Remember, team, sweat, embrace it, replace it. Gatorade, we go again.
Play on.
Gentlemen, time for our weekend observations, and I want to kick it off by saying I did attend both the Super Rugby and Super Rugby Opeke final. I wanted to address one player in particular, and I think you guys, well, I know you guys know him, but I had a moment where I was sitting down after going to the game, and I thought to myself, look, that is probably one of the most physical games of rugby I've ever witnessed. This is the game between the Blues and Moana Pacifica. And every one of the players were ginormous. Like, I'm talking, they were huge.
big boys.
Yeah, on the Moana Pacifica side. And then it got me thinking, the biggest player the Blues have is Paddy Toops, right?
Oh, yeah.
Big Patrick Tuipulotu, who is a friend of you guys. But I don't think enough people have ever sat down and thought about the moment he has to run out on a field against a team like Moana Pacifica, who have just bullied teams and said in a positive way. I know bullying is always given but they have physically dominated their opposition 2 weeks in a row, and then they come up against the Blues at home, and he is the guy expected to lay down the gauntlet. Now, Shaun, I know you've had a career where you're expected to do a role, right? And Brooke, you're the same. Playing the point, like you're a shooting guard, you've got a role to
Very
play.
different, but just chuck me in there. All right.
Either or. All I know is Seagull was where
Yeah, that's
whenever
more
you're
like
on
it,
the
but
court. But when I think about it, to be a physical dominant force and be relied upon, it's one thing to be relied upon, it's another to deliver. And I don't think enough people saw or have talked about just how physical Patrick was on that night. The way he turned those forwards who were running straight up the middle, back, using his shoulder, the physicality. Like I say, it's one thing to have it expected of you because you're such a big player, as in like you're big broad shoulders and people rely on you for it, but to be able to stand up and do it in the arena and do it in front of a home crowd against a team who has been dominating week in and week out, physicality-wise, I think props go to Paddy. He had a massive shift.
It's one of those things, when you're the skip, it comes with certain boundaries or certain guidelines that you've got to get right every week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually know Paddy on a personal level, physicality or alpha male outspoken aggression, he's a big bear.
He's a gentle
He's
giant.
a gentle giant, right? So when you see him physically dominating a game, and I've seen him do it with the footy plenty of times where he will just pick and go, but it's different to other boys that are pick and going, you know, like he's making some good,
moving.
yeah, he's moving, right? But to sit here and hear you talk about him like that, like you got to take your hat off to him, because it does start and finish with him.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And yeah, he's made the All Blacks and he's achieved the greatest of heights in the game, but I still think he's underrated. I still think he's undervalued. I think there's not enough noise around him, you know. So the fact that you've highlighted him, Matua, is an observation that you've seen against a real physical pack like Moana. Like, let's have more of it. You know, let's talk about Paddy more in this light. You know, and the rest of New Zealand should be, especially come All Black season, All Black selection. Like, just take note of that performance that he put out there in the weekend.
It's always been tough for Paddy in terms of the timing that he came up, because in his prime, I'm not saying Paddy's not in his prime right now, but he had to play behind Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock, and the ABs, and those two will go down as, you know, arguably the greatest two locks of all time. But he's right there. He was right behind those guys, and you're so right, Shaun. He is a gentle giant. He doesn't really say anything unless he had a couple beers, and then he's the best time. I tell you,
dancing on tables, that's for sure.
But when he does talk, everyone listens. Like, there's so much weight when he does have something to say that, as a captain, I don't know the Blues locker room, but I would imagine when he would lead by example, but when he speaks, people listen.
Yeah, Paddy's a giant human being, for considering. You know what I mean? Like, he's a big dude. So I imagine that being this size throughout his life, he's probably told he wasn't allowed to use his physicality as much as he probably can and could. I think he's finally come into that place in his career and his life where he's you know, God forbid, no more injuries. He can actually go and physically, and I don't think there's anyone more physically imposing and someone who can turn a game, and that was proof on the weekend when Paddy stepped up and drove back players who were ginormous humans as well. And I sat there and thought to myself, this is a team. I thought at the very start, Moana Pacifica turning up against the Blues, how do I see this going? In my head, I thought if there was one team that's probably geared to be able to beat a physical Moana Pacifica team, it's probably the Blues. A lot of these players would have come up through the age groups together. A lot of them would have, like, if you take one weekend of Auckland 1A, the size of the players that are in there and have learnt to tackle and learnt to try and be physically dominant against each other, it's going to happen, and the Blues were geared to be able to do it. But there was one person in particular, as I said, my weekend observation absolutely goes to Paddy, because the way he played, you're right, Shaun. When we start getting the French down here, when we start seeing the other, you know, the international teams with big forward players
South
come
Africans,
through,
good lord,
we need a giant human to be stopping them, and Paddy is him.
Yeah, and like the timing of it, you know, you're always trying to play for something. He has just had a second baby too, so you know, you always kind of there's this that extra motivation when you've just had baby as well. So with Phoenix yelling at him at home, just go out there and beat someone up, then he gonna be just fine.
Salute to you, Paddy, and also very enjoyable both that game and, of course, the OPEC final. Congratulations to the Blues women for winning the 2025.
Oh yeah. Who's up?
Shaun, I want you to fill me all in about this UFC. Like,
you
I saw a video very recently that came out of you hanging out with Gamebred, the man himself.
Oh yeah.
Jorge Masvidal.
Jorge Masvidal. Oh yeah, it was just an unreal week, and of insights, the places I was standing at certain points, me looking around going, how the heck am I here right now? The people I was speaking to, the interviews I was having, the small conversations even off camera I was having, and Jorge was one of them. A guy I watched plenty of times growing up. We actually spoke about the bare knuckle stuff, the Kimbo Slice era, and a whole heap around just what it means for him to, you know, be based in Miami, fight for Miami.
The thing I loved about, like, and sorry to interrupt, but the thing I loved about the video was when you said, I played rugby league. I don't even know. You said you used to play, and I would have played for free because it was something that I loved doing. Like, it always blows my mind. And he agreed with that. He was like, 100%. Like,
So-
you guys had that moment.
Well, so what I've realised, boys, remember I was like asking, like, what am I even going on this trip for? Where do I fall into all of this? Well, I quickly realised there's that not just Jorge, but the fighters, everyone I came across, once they realised I was an athlete, ex-athlete, they spoke to me on a different level.
Let their
Literally.
guard down almost.
They all did. They
You're
all
one of
did.
us.
And I never once said, oh, hey, I wasn't that guy. So Nico, who was the co-host, my co-host,
Yeah.
who was the UFC insider, a lot of knowledge, he had a great way of bringing me into the conversation in a manner of like letting
Letting it play out.
letting it play out, but letting the fighters know that, Shaun, you had a similar experience while you were playing rugby or rugby league, you know? So that helped a lot for me to be like, yeah, look.
Just need that in, right?
Yeah, 100%. And then as soon as we had that in, the whole angle of the conversation changed. And Gamebred was one of them. Yeah, I just touched on the fact that, like, at the end of it, we're all doing this because we genuinely loved it and we were doing it before the money and all that. And sort of when I said that, yeah, it really hit and resonated with him. And so it did with a lot of the other fighters too. And even just understanding into prep, mental prep. I'm not saying that, you know, league and UFC are on that same sort of level.
Well, it sounds like you're saying you're as tough as them. But
I could never fathom going into battle and doing pre-season camps for 15, 25-minute fights, tops. I actually can't. Like, it's just remarkable how they can continue to put themselves through that. Like, it really is, boys. It's just unreal. And then you got to remember, boys, like, this is my biggest takeaway from the weekend. Their ability to front up and do media, have engaged conversations, sell a fight while they're cutting weight
Water, yeah.
and water loading. Like, from when I spoke to Paddy Pimblett on the Monday I got there to when
He
I
was
spoke
bad,
to him
man,
last on the Thursday or Friday, completely different human. Gone, and everything looked like it just been flushed out of him, right? So just hat off to them, an unbelievable experience, and yeah, just took so much away from it.
Bro, you've played at Wembley. You've had some amazing moments in your career. I want to talk about this moment here, though. It was the presser. You would have been nervous before games, but I imagine this is probably where you're probably...
this is awesome.
Let's make some noise for the Volk!
I was like, that's my boy! Good question, too. Hold on. If you haven't heard it, I'm going to play it out. UFC presser. Last question.
You feel the love in this building. You've got love all around the world. Back home, Australia, New Zealand, right behind you. What's your final message to everyone back home that's going to tune in and buy this fight?
I just want to say, mate, I've
Shout out to Volk too. We'll play this
been
out.
feeling the love so much the past year, even before that. I appreciate
Yeah, shout out to Volk. Anyway, back to you. How nervous were you before that? Because I know how nerve-wracking it can be.
Well, boys, I was shitting myself.
I knew it.
Lads, like, there was a couple of reasons because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I don't know how these things work. I don't know how they play out.
You're closing the show.
And then they said to me, Shaun, you got the last question. I said, I've got what? I said, hang on. And Nico, my UFC insider co-host, he didn't even end up asking a question. I was like, do you want it? Like, sort of trying to palm it off. And the exec producer, Nick, was like, yes, Jay, I need you to do this. And I was like, far out, man. And then you've got a question in your head, but because you're last, you're like, if someone else asks him this question, I'm screwed. Like, I am proper rattled then. Okay? So,
Please don't answer my question. Please don't answer my question.
yeah. So what happens, boys, I get given the mic, and I had a question in my head around, okay, look, I just want to ask him about it. Like, it could have been a simple, Volk, what's your message for the fans back home that are going to tune in and watch this fight? It could have just been that. But for some reason, lads,
Seize the moment.
I stood up, and I just looked around, and they, like, last question. I was like, you know what? Like, let's go then. Or sort of, it's like I just went, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, all right?
right.
So then I'm looking around the crowd, I'm like, man, I actually was saying to myself, this better work, because I'm going to look like an absolute bot if this doesn't work. And then I looked at Volk, and this is when me and Volk locked eyes, and he sort of had a bit of a wry smile. I said, Volk, let's close out the show. Because I was like, the previous question, wasn't for him. You know, so I was like, let's get it back to Volk now.
Yeah.
You're like, this is your show, Volk. And I
Volk
just went,
show.
let's close out the show. And then I was like, give it up for the Volk. Make some noise for the Volk.
Like an out-of-body
When I
experience
did
type of
it,
thing.
I just was like, holy bro. And they just went off. Like, it stood up. Like, yeah, like the most passionate people you've ever seen.
Loud there.
And then I'm like, yeah, woo, yeah, let's go. Don't even know what I was saying. And then everything else just happened off the top. The bit where I said you feel the love in this arena, I was like, how did I even think about saying that? Sort of bringing back to what I just done, dial it into now. Okay, you know, like, I don't even know where that came from.
Well
boys.
done. Well done.
Yeah, but like, what was cool after is Volk messaged me on Insta. He said like the man or something, boom, and then I saw him the next day after ceremonial weigh-ins, and we sort of had a bit of a laugh. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but he was like, mate, thanks for yesterday. I got a message off Volk's manager saying like, oh, bro, I got goosebumps like watching you do
We
that.
got to get Volk on the show.
So
lad.
it was like a bit of a, like, I didn't realize the realm it carried, but hearing from Volk himself, the people in his camp, just sort of what it meant. Yeah, and like Volk in particular, that next day when he sort of said to me, mate, I was just chilling and you got me going. I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, let's go. Like, I was like, bro, it's your show.
Take some
It's all
credit for
about
the
you,
dub.
lad.
You're
So-
the last thing that he heard.
Nah. Hey, one
Take a
thing
little
I
bit of credit.
hated was when journos took credit for what I did out on the field. So no chance.
Nothing to do with you, Sean.
Nothing to do with me.
Although I do
What they
not
take
want
credit
to skip over the fact that, you know how like in movies there's always like a scene that is remembered by? I reckon they'll go through 2025 footage, and I reckon you've got a real moment. You've got a real poster moment there where they could look back at this year and be like, remember that guy who stood up and goes, let's hear it for the Volk.
You know what I wish I should have done?
History.
I didn't fathom or comprehend the exposure that it could get.
Yeah.
Bro, because if it did, I would have shaved in a mo, I would have worn a top hat, like something a bit leery, like I'm Hispanic or Cuban or something. Cigar, like I would have just because I was like,
to the bit.
commit.
Yeah.
I walked in there, boys, like literally tail between my legs, shitting myself.
Yeah.
Like I was a little like, oh my God, am I going to do this? But damn, it was a cool experience.
Well done.
Yeah, real fun.
I mean, once you do get to the mountaintop, sometimes you fall off though.
Oh, well,
And,
look where I am.
well, I hate to see where you're going to be this weekend.
First stop.
This weekend. So there was a bet that was made, and if you listen to the show, you know all about the bet. Sean lost the bet. He actually lost the bet twice. So Sean will be wearing a Broncos jersey this weekend. But I wasn't in the studio when Sean got here today, and I get in and I see Neeks and Marc singing Kumbaya, trying to usher this man into a grace period. Like, it's going to be all right, Sean. Sean, it's going to be fine. Let me throw flowers on your feet and
shut up,
kiss your
Brooke.
toes. It's going to be all right.
Okay, now you're having to go at me. Just so you're aware, Brooke, I don't think you're understanding the absolute magnitude for fans who
He
won't
doesn't.
understand.
He doesn't.
No,
And
I do understand.
No, you
I
don't.
didn't make the
No,
bet,
you
though.
don't.
No,
you've
that's-
never
it's a
you've
bet.
never ever been attached to a team, or ever gone back on a team, like I'm about to do to the boys.
I understand what you're about to do.
No, you don't.
It's just the bet side.
You don't.
So this is your
Oh
last chance.
no.
This is your last chance.
Nah.
If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
No, I'm
he
gonna
knows
do
what he's
it.
doing.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm
You
doing the
don't
bet.
have- oi.
Nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it just to shut yous up, and I'm gonna get it done. I'm not even gonna be cool about it. It's gonna be shit content. I don't care, but I'll wear it. 'cause
You
it's a
don't
bet.
have to do it, oi.
Brooke is stirring, but can I just say, Brooke,
And sorry for swearing. I'm jet lagged and I'm frustrated. And
the South Stand is going to erupt. Like the South Stand, Sean, you know
this is
absolutely how
thing,
the
bro.
South Stand's
I've been
going to
getting
react to
messages
this.
like people don't even care that I was in Miami. They're just like, when are you wearing the Broncos jersey? I'm like, woo, yeah, mean.
Once a Bronco, always a Bronco. Baby.
Yeah, and then bro, I was doing the Fox stuff last week, interviewing the Broncos boys over the weekend. Little Reece Walsh goes, yeah, Uncle SJ's going to be wearing that Broncos jersey next week. I was like, oh no.
Look, your club, I'm just saying, I completely understand. If
Hey,
the
can
night
I just say
hits-
this, please?
Hey,
okay.
look.
No,
You
no,
guys
no,
can't
no.
see
Just give
Neeks
me-
and
just
Marc
give me a
right now.
moment. Just give me
They
a
are
moment.
so worried about this man
No,
right now.
actually, give me a Frank energy moment, please.
Oh, you're having a Frank now?
No, I'm doing a Frank now, because, boys, which camera am I down? Which camera am I down?
Yours?
This one here?
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's our run sheet though.
There's our run sheet for anyone else that's like, yeah, this is what we do at Play On, okay? Hey, if I'm speaking down the camera, I hope, okay, just let me say this wholeheartedly, okay? I am so sorry. I feel disgusted that I even allowed myself to get in this situation. Now, a bet is a bet.
You're a good man.
So, the East Stand, this weekend, Upper East in particular, if you see me, please do not bottle me. All right? Please. Understand that this is for content purposes. And for the
Southside?
sake of my Play On Sports show, hopefully we get sponsors off the back of this.
Hey,
Okay?
We're not
No,
biggie.
no, shush.
Southside.
I'm going to wear a Broncos jersey. We're going to do it. That's all I've got to say.
South
All
Stand,
right?
we'll see
I
you
love
soon.
the Warriors.
All right, team. We'll see you all on Thursday as another show comes out. Sean, we need to go buy a jersey.
And you have to pay for it. Oh, that's
Oh.
even worse.
playoff.
Lamborghini. Look at the speed! Shaun Johnson! Aguero! It's over! Pass is intercepted at the goal line. In your life have you seen anything like that? Elliott hits it over the grandstand, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final!
Playoff.